Give me one moment. All right, we are on.
Call this meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. Welcome to our General Trustee meeting. Please join me. Oh, Mrs. Kraft, please call the roll.
Mrs. Faust?
Here.
Ms. Knapp?
Here.
Mr. Rumbles?
Okay, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any public comment? Mr. Reskovich.
Sure, let me introduce myself. My name is John Oreskovich. I live in Ketch Street in the Shores. You're all going to be relieved. I've got nothing about zoning to talk about today, so totally off the record. This is going to be an easy one. What can we do for our community? What a great question that we all have all the time. What more can we do? We're over 30,000 now from at least the last census that I saw. And there's a couple things that we've been doing the same since we were 10,000. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you know what? There's nothing more better than doing something back to the community. And so I thought I'd jot something which I know you all think about. And I thought I'd bring it to public session just to get it on the record and get it down so that that we can look at it. And I made copies of my notes. May I approach to give you a copy so you know what I'm talking about? 3 copies.
Thank you.
I'll take Ben's.
Yeah.
Give it to him. Oh, okay, thanks.
And that was just simply that. A little background is we got real excited this week at my household when since COVID, we finally found somebody way up in northern Delaware somewhere actually doing a shredded day. Oh my God, the calendars are marked. We are so excited to travel 45 minutes to find this one place that's doing a shredded day in all of Delaware County. I don't know about y'all, but my garage is full of batteries and paint because there's only one place that we get to go to for hazardous waste, and that's way up in Delaware at the Delaware County Recycling Center, or whatever that's called, Waste Management. Once a year, they get to have a day where you can come up, pay a lot of money, and dump some paint cans and some garbage. Other than that, there's a whole lot of stuff that's just hanging around my garage waiting for an opportunity to really get rid of it. And if you notice on my notes, I think right now there's no better time at all to do something for our community, and that is to give some consideration to recycling, the conservation of resources, promoting environmental stewardship, and of course, green initiatives. And I put out some points there about things that we can do with this, but I'd like to recommend and put some thought out there for us to put a really concerned effort, without putting this out into committees, just maybe plant some seeds, that part of our annual service to our residents is to do our own conservation programs, if you will. And I put just some recommendations down. I'll just talk about those and then I'll leave. A shredding day. You know, I don't know about y'all, but I've got so much shredding. I got taxes that go back 20 years. I can't afford to bring a shredding truck to my house. And I'm not going to sit there with boxes. I had a business page at a time to do that. It's awful. And I can't be the only resident that has it. Shredding days are a wonderful resource for the community. I suggest it even twice a year, once right after taxes. There's not a better time of the year when you realize how much, stuff you have that needs to be shredded. Then when you get done your taxes and you go, I have another pile of stuff that I really am not going to touch for the next 8 years. So I put a couple of recommendations. The biggest thing with all this I just wanted to mention is all of this could be sponsored. I mean, and that's the thing that started with me with the shredding day stuff, is banks. These are banks that are getting these trucks out there. They're out there passing out business cards and they're doing things. This is a great opportunity for that. Hazardous waste, again, you know, it's a pain in the butt for a resident of this community to get rid of hazardous waste. You've got to travel an hour on heavy days, the one day a year that they offer it, and then you got to pay for your car to get in there. and then you got to pay depending upon what it is. I tell you what, I love the environment. It's backing up in my garage because I'm just not going out there. If it was around the corner, I guarantee you I'd be participating in that program. Same thing with electronic recycling. I know all the stores offer it, but I'm on next door all the time, and there's people always looking to get rid of computers, TVs. I know we did it once a while back at the Home Depot. I don't know what kind of success it was, but I got to believe it's a great time to revisit that and put it on our calendars as something that we can look at as a community well in advance. That we are going to do this. Household goods and everything else. Again, I think about what goes out to people's trash. In my neighborhood, we got pickup trucks coming through all the time, picking through people's trash because one person's trash is another person's treasure. And there's a lot of opportunity for that. And I can't think of a better day to do a household and clothing and recycle thing than right after the community garage sale. We do that garage sale every year as a community. I know it's not necessarily sponsored by the township, but it's done as part of the Orange Township Business Association at one time, where all the HOAs get together. Everybody kind of does an Orange Township garage sale. After that's all over, people are like, what do I do? It didn't get sold, man. People go, I want to take it to Goodwill, take it to this place, dump it off, put it on the curb. Man, wouldn't it be great to have a day afterwards where you could donate that chair and table that you didn't sell, and maybe Goodwill would be interested in it too, and they could have a representative there. Or the people, I put some down, people in need, Goodwill, the Restore stores, places like that that can collect all this stuff at one time. That's from the residents of Orange Township, okay? And it's a service for Orange Township. Disposals today, we pay for recycling. There's stuff that goes in recycling that shouldn't. I see my neighborhoods, it shouldn't go in recycling. It's because it's convenient. And this is about convenience. That's all I'm trying to promote here, is there may be programs available, but with this traffic and with this density and where they're located, everything is way north. I'm talking about establishing something that's convenient and at low cost and is a community thing that we can say, we as a community are going to do this. And what little cost there might be to get it started, maybe the township would be willing to absorb that shredded truck for the day, and offset it. Maybe we can get a couple banks, the sponsorships or whatever. And I just think it's just is a great time to go back and say, let's do that. So that's all my comments are for it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And I would, I also saw the shredding day up in Delaware, and I thought about why don't we do ours anymore? So, we did used to do a shredding and electronics that you mentioned, and they were extremely successful. I had people out the door. I would like to maybe get back into that. I think during COVID, I think everything kind of went away, unfortunately. So it's a good reminder, and I appreciate that. At least for the shredding and the electronic recycling, I think the hazardous waste, it's really governed by maybe the EPA or something. That might be hard to do. That's why it's only in one spot. But I think the other two, we've already done it before. I don't see why
we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just a convenience thing. I know that, and I put down places like sponsorships like Batteries Plus. They take recycled batteries are considered a hazardous waste. When you go and buy them from Menards, they're a battery. Once you buy them, it's hazardous waste. I can never figure that out. Same thing with a can of paint. You buy a can of paint at Menards, it's paint. The instant you walk out the door, it's hazardous waste.
Yeah, at least maybe start with those and then
branch but just something to think about. We got a big community now. Let's bring it home.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the reminder.
General announcements?
I have none.
The only ones that I had, John, you may want to hang for this, was about the hazardous waste and electronics recycling that is going out in the community right now. So I was going to promote what the county is doing, but I do really appreciate your idea of let's do it here also. So there is a electronics day that is June 3rd, and it is the fairgrounds, so it's not around the corner. And then there is a hazardous waste collection that is April 22nd. That's at the Morrow County Fairgrounds. There's also hazardous waste. Oh, and that's the permanent ones. But yeah, so those are in the county, but not close. So yeah. Thank you for that. And we'll see what we can do.
And I did remember that there are certain things that they charge, like
definitely the televisions they typically will charge based on
certain items,
the types of television. Yeah, I feel like I've donated computers and that kind of stuff. But you're right.
Mulch does take electronics.
Oh, they do?
I dropped off my old TV there.
Oh, Ohio Mulch.
Ohio Mulch.
Just like all the time.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. I didn't know that.
That's good to know. Maybe we can just promote that too,
Yeah.
the existing
Yeah, for now.
thing.
Yeah.
If I could have one last comment.
Come up.
Franklin County, their hazard or their just waste company or whatever they use, it's readily available, free, 24/7, all the time to the people of that county and that residents right down the street. So if you live in Westerville, you can go take care of this all the time. We don't have that convenience, so I'm just saying.
But we can take our stuff too.
No,
Okay.
it's supposed to. It's a service for the people. You're supposed to provide proof of residency. That's all the more reason why I mentioned in one of my bullet points in there that
You said
if it's going to be a cost to the township, then maybe a proof of residency when you come to drop off your stuff. Like we do anything else, an ID or a utility bill or something like that. So
Yeah, it does
offset.
usually cost. I know we had to pay for the shredders and all of that.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Another general announcement, just a reminder, as it's nice today and gardening season maybe in your purview as a community as a whole, there's the composting that's available with Price Organics where Delaware County residents can get free compost bucket. The only hiccup is you have to take it to Price Organics to dump it every time. It jogged my memory when we signed the check to get the compost dirt from Price Organics for community gardens that are going to be at Glen Oak. So just as another reminder to the community, we're going to have community gardens again this year. They are moving locations, so they're on Township property now at Glen Oak Park. So that'll come out once it's ready. But yeah.
And I just have one thing. I met yesterday with the Delaware County Revolving Loan Fund. We approved 3 more loans. So in the last 3 weeks, we've approved 8. So somewhere around $300,000 in loans. So,
Do you know if any of them were county, like our township
Mm.
businesses?
yep. One is Evans Farm Wits. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly.
One last thing, announcement-wise, is House Bill 1 is the first bill that the General Assembly is putting out, and it kind of changes funding for schools and local governments. So it's not finalized yet, but I know that people have reached out at the school district and us as well. I was able to connect with Beth Lear this morning, and she's going to send us the kind of like a fact sheet about it so that we can at least be understanding a little bit more. When I read the legislative summary, it just basically said, if there is local funding, here, I'll read it. It was literally a one-liner. Okay. It said, the bill states that the General Assembly intends to appropriate funds in fiscal years 24 and 25 to local governments impacted by the bill's tax changes. That's not very detailed. So I was hoping to get some additional details to see how and if it affects us. So we are aware of what's going on and learning and working with our, government that's above us. So, okay. Any other announcements? Any agenda changes?
I do have a couple. Under the consent agenda, the MK Hardesty LLC, the description, the word contingency should not be there. And then under administrative report, I will be continuing items A and B.
Consent agenda. Do you have any questions about the consent agenda? No, I didn't. Okay. Right. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-66, approving the electronic record of the proceedings from the regular meeting and the zoning hearing meeting, ZON 22-10 Aldea SFPRD, held on February 15th, 2023. And to make a motion to approve resolution 23-67, approving purchase orders, then and now purchase orders, and blanket purchase orders as listed.
Second.
Mrs. Knapp,
Yes.
Mrs. Faust.
Okay. Development and zoning report. Mr. Duffy.
Good afternoon, trustees. Zoning and hearing meetings report will be relatively brief. We do have 2 public hearings with this board on Wednesday, March 15th. One is the continued Aldea application at 4:30 on Wednesday, March 15th, and then at 5:30 is the RCOD application at 79 Parkway. I have not heard any updates from Aldea and Onyx and East. The RCOD, we should have physical copies for you next week. They're making a few minor changes based on zoning
I saw there
commission
was some
feedback.
feedback from the community at the work session.
Yep.
So, and I've been asked to meet with some of the residents. that live in that area.
Mhm.
So I'm going to meet, and Robin's going to meet with me as well. So I'm going to meet on Friday. We've been into. Great. Yeah. Okay.
All right, and then we do have a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting scheduled for Thursday, March 16th. So the Arby's is doing a remodel off of 23. They are asking for a variance for their signage for the sign height. That application is actually not going to be on the agenda that evening because they did not get their payment in time. So that will be pushed to the April hearing. We may look at doing a legal training for our BZA members since there will be nothing else on the agenda for the March meeting. And then finally, we do have one new zoning amendment application that came in, ZON-23-01, which would amend the current PC district at the corner of Orange and Highfield to allow for the construction and operation of an assisted living facility. So the zoning commission hearing for that will be Tuesday, March 28th, and then we will schedule the hearing following that with you all.
Have they provided drawings yet?
Yes.
Okay.
We do not have hard copies yet. They're supposed to be sending them.
All right. Any other zoning questions? Okay. Operations, Mr. Bass.
Good afternoon. First thing today is to accept the resignation of Mason Law and Mason Law. Been with us for a little over a year. So I'd like to accept his resignation and authorize posting his jobs. And then the second thing, or third, I order these, is to move forward with the Township Hall project, the wetland project out back here, designs, and the books have been reviewed on that one. Starting construction on that. For blessings to go ahead and approve contract for that as well as purchase.
Do we know when-ish that will start, finish? Great. Exciting to have that. And then we had talked at one point about doing some sort of like, not event, but, you know, pictures and when it all opens. So the new things that are in this space. That's something we would love. Okay. Great. Okay. Anything else zoning wise or operations wise? All right. And make a motion to approve resolution 23-68, regretfully accepting the resignation of full-time public works laborer Mason Mullihan.
Second?
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. And make a motion to approve resolution 23-69, authorizing the posting of the job announcement for the full-time public works laborer position vacancy.
Second?
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Make a motion to approve resolution 23-70, authorizing the director of operations to accept the Orange Township Hall Park Pond and Wetland Project quote from MK Hardesty LLC and enter into an agreement with MK Hardesty LLC and authorize the issuance of a purchase order in the amount of $129,945.
Second?
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Yeah. Anything from you, Chief? Ms. Kraft?
Okay, I just have one thing on today's agenda. We are, I think we mentioned the community improvement plan, the CIC we were trying to start up. And Liberty has one, and I've talked to their FO about it. They actually registered their 501(c) through the state of Ohio, the Secretary of State. They have its own board and everything. Keep an entirely separate set of books. What we didn't necessarily want to go down that path, so we had a call this week with the Delaware County Foundation, Chris Baker, the CEO there, and they do something similar for like Delaware City and other local communities. So similar to how we've got the Veterans Memorial Fund set up, so we can set a fund up through the Delaware County Foundation, calling it the Orange Township Community Fund or whatever, and that way we can legally run any business donations through that, and then the Delaware County Foundation is responsible for all the tax reporting and things like that. That doesn't put the burden on the township to do that. Keeps us compliant as far as 1099s and all that kind of stuff. So we would like to further explore setting this up. so that we can begin to take donations from businesses that want to sponsor our events or whatever. So I just need the okay to, and the other thing we talked about is rather than naming a person to administer it, is to name a role. So if I'm not sitting in this seat a year from now, then there's no transition or disconnection as far as who's in charge. So it just remain the title itself. So in this case, it would just be fiscal officer. So that is the administrator.
So so what does it mean if you're the administrator?
It just means basically I log on, I watch the money come in, kind of like I do with the Veterans Memorial account. I can transfer the money to the township, or and I can see who donated and all that kind of
So
stuff.
the trustees would have access to that information, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this opportunity because it'll allow us to kind of offset some of the costs of our parade and we're having a Founders Festival on September 30th and holiday event in the winter and all that kind of stuff. So this will be very helpful. So
And the CICs are a huge pain to set up.
That's kind of what I found out. So this is a much cleaner way to not have to have the administration. The only thing we will not be able to do through this, though, to be transparent, we cannot do land transactions through this. Like Liberty can do stuff with their land bank through their CIC. We would not be able to through this CIC. Okay. So do I have your consensus to move forward? Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Bonnie, the administration report.
All right, thank you. So I just have one item, and that is the ERC Health Agreement. So ERC Health is the wellness component of our health insurance through Anthem, which was approved last November. And in front of you is just the agreement we need the board to authorize to move it forward. Nothing has changed since the approval of the insurance last year, but just something we need to formalize. That's all I have.
Good. Okay. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-71, authorizing Mike Kremnitzer, Township Senior HR Manager, to negotiate, review, and execute an agreement with ERC Health.
Second?
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Great. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-72, meeting adjourned.
Second.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.